Hey everybody, it's FrSky. Hey, I'm talking to you one last time on this channel because, as you can see on the screen, I've actually moved channels to the FrSky Steve channel. Did it for a couple reasons. First and foremost is because I had actually two different Google accounts that I post videos on, and I had no rhyme or reason which account they went onto. And some people saw some of the videos, some people didn't. Really depends how they came across. I also felt that when I put these videos out in the first place, I didn't really feel like it was it was just really a means to an end. I had these videos I was trying to publish. I was trying to find content for people to get started with FrSky, and there was a number of nice videos out there, but there were some videos that weren't out, and I tried to talk to the content creators, and they were kind of like, yeah, maybe I can make a video on flaps or something like that, and not really super into whatever I was asking about. So I decided to be down and dirty, just make videos using my computer and a microphone, and it was as simple as that. But I don't know why some of you guys actually like these videos, and um, I mean, some of you guys spend more time listening to me than my wife does, and I think you're insane. But I do thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel, and this really does mean a lot. And it means a lot when I talk to people that come up to me at events and they kind of mention to me, "Hey, Steve, I like your videos, and it's helped me out with this or that or whatever else." And the one thing that I did discover over time was that occasionally I run into a guy who has bought a transmitter. Sometimes I see them at events like year after year, and they came to stop by and bought a transmitter from me year before, and they're like, yeah, I'm still trying to figure that thing out. Or I had a couple guys that like bought it, I couldn't figure it out, and I sold it to my buddy, that type of thing. So I kind of wanted to make some videos for people who were just wanted to know, how do you get from point A to point Z. We had a lot of videos on various subjects, but they were kind of for people who already had their transmitters set up and kind of knew their way around and just wanted better ways of doing things. So what I decided to do was a video series from start to finish for people to just follow along. I would take them through the entire journey of setting up a plane. And in this first episode, I kind of talk a bit more about all this stuff, so I won't get too much into it. I also do an overview of this. The things that I would point out is that the big thing was that all these older videos that I recorded were in Ethos 1.4, and all these videos you're looking at on the screen are in Ethos 1.5. And the reason I did that is because people were moving to Ethos 1.5, and they were trying to follow along with my older videos, and they were saying, hey man, this isn't, some of this, my screen looks different, and I can't figure out where you're going with this. So I had to do that as well. The other thing, and this is the bigger thing in my book, is that there are some really freaking cool things with Ethos 1.5, and it wasn't until I actually made the videos that I was actually forced to sit down and look at these things. And like, it was like evening after evening, I'd be like, oh wow, I'll be damned, you can do this. And then I would record a video, and like I would say, I think things would work this way, but I'm not exactly sure. And it's like, one of them was I said that about trims. I wasn't really sure how the moving trims to sub trims worked out. And so after I recorded it, I actually tried it out on one of my planes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is freaking cool. And so I had to go back and re-record episodes 6 and 9 over again because I was talking about trims. And it was just like, I saw the light by that point, and I was just like, yeah, this is great. There were some, the other thing that I was really wanted to touch on as well was this whole thing about flight modes. So there was Fantastic Flight Modes was episode 8. And up to this point, it really took a series like this where you can go step by step to introduce this. I set up a real basic 3 flight mode transmitter. And the reason why it's 3 is because it had to fit on one switch. So I had a takeoff, a cruise, and a landing flight mode. And I know it's not enough flight modes for everybody, But with that, I was able to explain to people how to get in there and how to do a lot of neat things. One of them was the episode 7. The episode before this was talking about flaps. And what I was able to do is show people we can clone what we worked on channels in episode 7, and we can clone it 2 more times, have 3 different flap mixes, and assign them to different flight modes so that they do different things. So it is really freaking cool to do that. I know that's not new in Ethos 1.5, but this was something that, if I want to show the benefit of how to work with a computerized transmitter, that's one of the reasons why we do that. And a lot of these things I've covered before. The timers was one where people kind of asked. I guess there was some differences on how you set that up now versus the old timers, and I was able to do that. I talked about CAN mixes, and I also talked about the multi-protocol module to a certain extent, and talked about how to set it up and the different types of things you can do with it. Really interesting stuff. Okay, now the other thing I want to do, now that I'm done with this, I wanted to get in and create some videos as well about things that aren't as common. So the one I was looking at was the sensors, because sensors to me are something that, yeah, well, I know for a fact I'd say there's like maybe 10% of the FrSky market uses sensors. So I think the vast majority of the FrSky users who love the transmitters have no idea that you can do a hell of a lot more with the transmitters and receivers. And I think if you understood what these things are, how easy they are to set up, all the little nuances about setting them up so they can get them to work the way you want them to work, and also the knowing for a fact that you're not going to fail at doing this, and you can see the benefit in this, then I think it would make a lot more sense. So what I've been granted working for FrSky is a certain amount of credit for me to be able to get a few things to play with, and I've asked for not a new transmitter, even though the transmitters I love dearly, and I know there's a lot of new ones out right now, and sooner or later I might get myself one of those bright shiny X20RSs. That looks like a really nice transmitter. But for the meantime, I'm focused on these things, and so I'll be playing with the FAS 150 and the GPS. I already use this. It really needs to have a video out about that. It is a really neat thing to have. I've never played with the FLVS. These are things you put into your battery so you can get voltage in real time on your batteries. The variometer is something that's in quite a lot of receivers we have. Receivers, everyone that has a G in it for glider. So the TWGR8, the G stands for glider, and that means it has a variometer. And what a variometer does is it measures your altitude, it measures your vertical airspeed. It does a lot of neat things. You can also use the tones, and if you do any kind of mild gliding with it, it is just the most amazing thing ever. So I'm super excited to work with that. The whole idea about the variometer here is you can add this on. They're not horribly expensive. You can put them onto just about any of our receivers, and especially like the tandem receivers, and you can get the benefit. If you have a glider, this is a no-brainer. Put it in there. And airspeed sensors, I'm not really going to play with. And at some point, I will jump into the Neuron. There we have the Neuron 60 and the Neuron 80. I do think that I need to put out a video on that as well. And with that, I am going to just wrap up by talking about the last thing here, which is talking about where FrSky is going. And right now, I will say this, we're in the era of confusion right now, because we are at this lightning fast pace to go from point A to point Z. And it looks like a lot of people, have come in the last couple years and only caught the last 2 years of a 5-year transition period. What FrSky is going through has been around since about 2019, and what I'm seeing is that the light at the end of the tunnel will be at the end of 2024, which means by 2025 you'll have pretty much a very stable operating system that doesn't change as much. It does change, but the amount of change is not anywhere near what you're seeing with Ethos 1.5 right now. And then we have a radio line that is also in the midst of one last change, and I have to wait till one more series of radios drops before I can really talk about all of this, why this is happening. I will say that if you have your X20S or X20 or X18 and you like it, by gosh, keep using it. I have mine. I love mine as well. But I'd say for the people coming into the FrSky line, what's going to happen is they're going to have a bit more options available to them. And it's all going to make sense once I can finally lay the whole story out to everybody as to why all the changes so quickly, especially when we had the X20 Pro come out, and that became like just an instant legacy radio. And then all of a sudden, within 6 months, it turned into the X20 Pro AW, and people are scratching their heads like, okay, is this going to be something new every 3 months, every 6 months? No, it's not going to happen like that. So what I will just finish by saying is that we're in the awkward teenage years right now. The company is actually about 14 years old right now, FrSky, and this is that transition period that's happening in 2024, and the line as far as the fixed wing community is going to be pretty much complete. There's going to be accessories that get added in 2025, but you're not going to see, I don't know of any radios that are going to be in the line in 2025 that, other than radios you know and love, changing colors. Oh yeah, they're addicted to that. You're going to be seeing, if you're not loving any of the new colors on these transmitters, and that's the one thing. I love that cardinal red myself, and I love the X20RS, and I'm just going to look at them and say, hey, I look forward to getting that X20RS in cardinal red. I know sooner or later it's going to happen. Until that point, I'm just going to be happy with what I got. And so yeah, that's all the changes you're going to see. You're not going to see the X24 next year or anything else like that. There's going to be some new radios, but they're not going to be in the fixed wing segment, and that's all I can say about that. So with all that in mind, I do thank you for subscribing, and I do hope you join me on the journey as we move over to this new channel. And I am going to let you know about all the cool things that FrSky is doing, and keep you abreast of what's changing and where FrSky stands. And I'm looking forward to a lot more stability in the year 2025. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the other side. I'll have the links in the description to the FrSky Steve channel.